During the aircraft disaster, everyone wept as they sent their final messages to their beloved ones. I opened the chat window of my archrival and fervently expressed my feelings. With 2 holes in your head, can't a blind man discern that I am fond of you? Last time, when I pretended to be intoxicated, you refused my advances. You deserve this. Regretting it now is futile. My life is about to restart. 1. The body plummeted at an alarming speed. The lack of oxygen rendered consciousness increasingly hazy, as all strength seemed to drain away. After a violent jolt, my phone slipped from my grasp. Instinctively, I reached out to catch it, only to clutch something soft and warm instead. How peculiar could such a sensation exist within an airplane? In the deafening silence of the cabin, a voice suddenly pierced through. Hey, how long are you going to keep holding on? How could anyone still be speaking? It was clear that everyone else had succumbed to unconsciousness. Are you deaf? Oh, you don't want to let go? The voice came again, closer and clearer, tinged with an oddly familiar resonance. My sluggish mind finally registered it. It was that person's voice. Just moments ago, I had been fervently pouring my heart out in his messages, and now all my bravado had evaporated. At this critical juncture, I could no longer feign nonchalance. In truth, I felt an insatiable longing, so profound that it manifested as auditory hallucinations. Yet, this voice carried a sense of nostalgia, reminiscent of youthful exuberance. Struggling to concentrate amidst the fog in my mind, I was suddenly jolted as my arm was tugged. Like a drowning person being pulled to the surface, I gasped for air, my eyes flinging open to behold the figure before me. With elegantly arched brows and a devil-may-care grin, his face radiated an aggressive handsomeness. It was Fei Qi in an instant. My dulled senses flooded back to life. The cacophony of cicadas in midsummer reverberated around me. The wooden floorboards exuded a rich, earthy aroma under the sunlight, and beads of sweat trickled down my forehead. Moreover, I realized I was gripping Fei Qi's hand. Was this an illusion? Lin Yijia, you're not about to confess your feelings to me, are you? This was no mere figment of my imagination. Stunned, I released my hand, spreading my palm open. Beneath my skin, a healthy blush glowed, my pulse strong and steady. Clenching, releasing, clenching again, I could control my body. Are you really that foolish? TSK, all that studying has turned you into a bookworm. I looked up to see the blue of Fei Qi's school uniform. It was the summer of 2016. That year, I was a sophomore and he was a senior. 2. We had never seen eye to eye. I found his nonchalant, cynical demeanor utterly exasperating, while he regarded my seriousness and lack of humor with disdain. Ironically, his younger brother, Fei En, was my closest friend. I frequently went to his home after school to do my homework, just as I was doing today. How disgusting, Fei Qi scoffed, casually leaning against the window. Following his gaze downwards, I spotted Fei En being confessed to by a boy in the small garden below. Among the 3 brothers of the Fei family, the youngest, Fei En, was the most attractive, with many suitors vying for his affection. What a pathetic homosexual coming over to someone else's house like that. Absolutely revolting. Fei Qi turned his head, his penetrating gaze fixed on me, a smirk playing at the corners of his mouth. Right? Perhaps it was my imagination, but there was a playful glint in his eyes, yet he awaited my response with an unsettling seriousness. 17-year-old Lin Yijia, despite disliking Fei Qi, found herself agreeing with him on this matter. Yet, in this moment, the soul inhabiting my body was that of a 25-year-old. 8 years had passed, and I had experienced much. My feelings for him had transformed from disdain to affection, culminating in him being the sole person on my mind as I faced death. I didn't want to betray my true feelings, so I shook my head. I don't understand. Fei Qi paused, momentarily taken aback, his expression darkening. TCH, bookworms are so dull. His retreating figure radiated displeasure. I stood there, watching him leave, feeling somewhat lost. I could not discern whether this was a time travel or a rebirth. Nonetheless, either scenario indicated that the 25-year-old me had perished. How would Fei Qi react to the news of my demise? Would he feel guilty? After all, I had boarded that ill-fated plane to attend his engagement party. 3. At 18, Fei Qi had yet to step into the realm of matrimony. He was currently irked that I failed to catch his tennis ball. How could the top student in the grade not catch this ball? I might as well feed it to you. Are your eyes merely decorative? His voice was deafening. For some inexplicable reason, the sensation of impending death lingered around me, as if I were still aboard the plane, my mind occasionally swirling in dizziness. I set down my tennis racket. I'm done. Fei approached, attempting to smooth things over. Don't take my brother seriously. He has been like this for ages, and it's not personal. I was well aware that Fei Qi treated everyone with disdain, often launching indiscriminate verbal assaults. Yet he was particularly harsh with me. Sitting on the bench, lost in thought, a water bottle suddenly landed on my lap. I failed to catch it and it fell to the ground. TCH. Fei Qi bent down to retrieve it and handed it back to me. Drink this, your complexion is so pale I'm worried you'll faint. Seeing me remain still, he cursed softly, twisted open the cap, and forcefully shoved it into my hands. Are you waiting for me to feed you? With the conversation reaching this point, I could only obediently raise the bottle and take a sip. It was grapefruit-flavored, sweet and refreshing. His expression softened, as if to say, now that S more like it. He then took my racket and sat down beside me, lazily watching the two players on the court. Were you up late again last night? Working on that ridiculous exam of yours? Our families were neighbors, with only a flower path separating our rooms, so close that I could see him change clothes from my window. Can't you just skip one page and go to bed earlier? Your top student status relies solely on that exam, right? His words were particularly harsh. I wasn't the type to passively accept such treatment. I usually responded bluntly to Fei Qi. Did he truly wish to see me fail? Logically, I should have retorted. Yet, when I opened my mouth, the words caught in my throat, and what came out was, "Are you concerned about me?" The moment the words left my lips, Fei Qi's pupils dilated, and he abruptly stood up straight. Bullshit. He spat out a retort and rushed back to the court. In a daze, Fei and S serve went unreturned. I slowly twisted the cap back on the bottle, my heart racing uncontrollably. Had I returned to the past because the heavens wished for me to rectify my regrets? Or perhaps to reveal some overlooked truths? For instance, in our earlier conversation, the younger me only felt targeted and ridiculed, never considering that Fei Qi might simply be putting on a tough front. I pressed my hand to my chest, taking deep breaths to quell the surging excitement. Fei Qi dashed back, his voice taut. What the hell? Are you feeling unwell? No, I shook my head. The sunlight was blinding. If I could live this life again, I would choose Fei Qi for. I fell asleep, filled with boundless anticipation for this second chance at life. However, upon awakening, I found myself staring at the ceiling of my university dormitory. I thought I must have been mistaken. I closed my eyes and reopened them. Still in the dormitory, I lay there motionless, as a disbelieving thought, like damp moss, slowly crept over me, my mind buzzing, and my blood gradually turning cold. This was neither a rebirth nor time travel. It was merely a fleeting glimpse before death. Fate had not granted me leniency, and no miracle had occurred. I remained on the path to predetermined death, unable to alter anything. Fei tapped on my bed frame. After class this afternoon, come straight to my house. Stiffly, I turned on my phone. The screen displayed a reminder for Fei and S' birthday. I would forever remember this day. Halfway through celebrating Fei and S' birthday, the entire Villa district suddenly experienced a power outage, and after waiting endlessly for repairs, I stumbled back to my own home in the dark, with Fei Qi trailing closely behind. Did you hear that? Echoed the same dialogue from my memories. They were secretly kissing. I opened the door and crouched down to change my shoes in the entrance. That's quite normal. They're a couple. Fei had started dating in his freshman year, his partner being his roommate, and their relationship was stable. I had long grown accustomed to their occasional public displays of affection. Fei Qi showed no sign of leaving. He leaned against the door, his expression obscured. Lin Yijia, I recall that you hadn't yet graduated when you experienced your first kiss. Correct? The development mirrored that of memories long past. Next, I ought to retort indignantly, what of it? Why does it concern you? Then he would condescend to say, how pitiful. Why not plead with me? I could reluctantly assist you. His notion of assistance involved pinning me against the wall and kissing me until the power returned and the lights illuminated the space. Later, he would explain that the darkness had amplified sensory emotions, and the sticky sounds of Fian had provoked him into a moment of impulsiveness, urging me not to take it to heart. My heart was in disarray, and upon hearing his words, it plummeted into silence. To mask my disappointment, I feigned nonchalance, echoing, yes, yes, two boys kissing is nothing unusual, no different from sharing a piece of pork. Realizing that Fei Qi had noticed my prolonged silence, he chuckled. What's the matter? Too embarrassed to admit it? Not at all, I denied. It's no longer relevant. Feichi was momentarily taken aback, disbelief etched on his face. With whom? Have you been dating? After asking, he answered himself, impossible. Fian said you've been single all along. Oh, are you referring to that little girl with the pigtails from kindergarten? Linijia, that hardly constitutes a first kiss. One ought to kiss someone they truly like, I interjected, my voice trailing off. Feichi had a point. Darkness indeed magnified perception, as I could distinctly sense his breath falter for a fleeting moment. I was curious about what he would say next, feigning a sudden realization, so that means the first kiss is indeed still intact. Is there a problem with that? Feichi fell silent. After a long pause, he stammered, Do you need me to? Need you for what? He hesitated, inhaling deeply. Hearing them, don't you feel an urge to kiss as well? I fixed my gaze in his direction and heard myself say, not at all. In truth, I yearned to, yet, I knew that regardless of the choice I made in this moment, it would not alter the outcome in the future. What did it matter if it was meaningless? I merely wished to confirm that these years had not been a solitary infatuation on my part. Feichi found himself devoid of excuses. The two of us were ensnared in a stalemate. I was the first to relent. All right, I might want to a little, but as you said, such things should only be done with someone you like. Am I someone you like? You could envision me as someone you like. Feichi leaned closer, his warm breath pressing down. For instance, that junior from your club, you have an interest in her, don't you? I heard you've taken her out for dinner several times and still haven't succeeded? A junior? After so many years since graduation, I had nearly forgotten her existence. Upon a slight recollection, it seemed we had teamed up for a competition, but there had been no further contact. Did I hit the mark? Feichi pinched my chin with an inexplicable force. No, I replied. Suddenly, a faint click echoed above, and within the next moment, my surroundings brightened. I instinctively closed my eyes. The lights are on. Feichi gazed intently at me, his eyes deep and profound. He raised his hand to cover my eyes. Not yet. Warmth and softness pressed against my lips, slowly deepening. I wanted to ask him if the once dull and oblivious me had missed many opportunities. When did you start liking me? Why can't we be a bit braver? Everything felt too late. I was reluctant to push him away. I would wait until it was over to ask. Once this kiss concluded, I intended to confirm my feelings with him. Then, even if we could not be together, there would be no regrets. But when I opened my eyes, I found myself no longer in the entrance hall. A colleague was assisting me toward a hotel room, and I heard Feichi's voice behind me. Why did you drink so much? The other party's CEO enjoys persuading others to drink. It was impossible to resist. My colleague, recognizing Feichi, left me in his care and departed with ease. Feichi wrapped one arm around me while the other opened the door with a keycard. I buried my face in his shoulder, inhaling a faint, crisp scent. Can you still walk? I mumbled incoherently. You dog, do you not know your own alcohol tolerance? He pushed the door open with his body, slightly bending to lift me. His arms were strong, and his chest was firm. Once he carried me to the edge of the bed. I spoke up. I'm not drunk. Oh, right, you're not drunk. He set me down on the bed with a hint of annoyance, extending his hand to loosen my tie, but his movement froze. He had realized that I was indeed sober. My eyes were clear, and I was smiling at him. What he didn't know was that for countless nights, I relied on alcohol to banish him from my dreams. Thus, my tolerance was not lacking. That was no trivial matter. In the past, I pretended to be drunk. This time, I didn't wish to feign it. So why were you clinging to that man like a piece of mud? Pretending to be diligent. A promotion and raise by year-end isn't a dream. Feichi clicked his tongue lightly. You've become cunning. Your acting skills are quite impressive. As he spoke, he pulled out a chair and sat down. I was deceived, and even went so far as to order you a hangover remedy. A hangover remedy? I couldn't recall that part. At that time, I had been so nervous, my mind preoccupied with how to seduce Feichi into removing my clothes. Unfortunately, I failed. He not only didn't undress me but also helped me button my shirt properly. You've drunk too much. Get some good sleep. Feichi left the room with that remark. Although I later discovered he hadn't truly left, remaining by the door all night. Being rebuffed after shamelessly seeking intimacy was a devastating blow. Unwilling to relive that night, I looked up at him. So you saw me in the restaurant downstairs? Yes. Feichi did not deny it. I know that CEO. His reputation is rather poor, He swings both ways, so be cautious. Is that so? Thank you for the warning. Feichi had matured significantly. In the past, we had shared a close bond and frequently crossed paths. The intensity of that feeling was not as pronounced. Now, as I revisited his youth and college years, I could distinctly perceive how composed he had become. The flamboyant and carefree aura was now contained within his meticulously tailored suit. I couldn't help but feel a sense of disorientation. For tomorrow's engagement banquet, would he also don a suit and tie? Oh, there would be no tomorrow. What are you daydreaming about? He waved his hand in front of me, a faint smile playing at his lips. I fixated on that smile. You've tied your tie exceptionally well. Feichi paused, glancing down. Is that so? The technique should be the same, right? He then looked at my collar and chuckled. If you want me to teach you, just say so. With that, he yanked off his tie and draped it around my neck. For now, hold it here. Wrap it around. Feichi was genuinely teaching me. Yet I wasn't listening at all. Feichi, your tie carries your warmth. How comforting. Feichi couldn't restrain himself. This was perhaps the worst tie he had ever tied. Just then, the service bell rang. The hangover remedy had arrived. He appeared quite busy, blowing on the soup to cool it down, fiddling with his phone, counting the floors of the building across from us. He simply wouldn't look at me. Once the soup was cool enough, he handed it over. Even if you're not drunk, you should drink a bit. It's good for your health. I took a sip. It doesn't taste good. Feichi was momentarily taken aback, tasting it himself with a spoon. It's fine. Hangover remedies all taste like this. Noticing me staring at the spoon in a daze, he suddenly became flustered. Sorry, I didn't pay attention. I'll go wash up. I grasped his wrist. Wash what? It's dirty, he replied. Dirty? You wouldn't have forgotten, would you? We kissed on that night of the blackout. It was better not to say that. Once the words left my lips, Feichi's entire body tensed. His voice strained to the breaking point. Are you still concerned about that matter? I apologize. It was truly a moment of impulsiveness. Had I not experienced it myself, I might have believed him. What a lie. Can impulsiveness last that long? Feichi's Adam's apple bobbed, words failing him. Do not remain silent any longer. Do not swallow your words back down. My time is running short. I took a deep breath and pressed on. Why did you deceive me? Feichi remained silent. Thus, wherever his gaze wandered, I followed suit, unrelenting in my pursuit. He could not evade me, closing his eyes momentarily. Because after that night, you ignored me for 3 days, claiming you weren't home, while I lingered at your doorstep and heard you say I was disgusting. I do not wish to become strangers. My eyes widened, frozen in disbelief. No, it is not like that. Why didn't you ask me what I was truly thinking? Stop it, Ija. Feichi's voice trembled, laced with a plea. Please, my feelings have not changed since then. Can we just leave it at that? Let us remain as we are. The misunderstanding swelled in the silence and avoidance, cleaving a vast chasm, and our youthful days plummeted into its depths. We were meant to be together. The time we should have shared was wholly consumed by it. Yet, looking back after all these years, it seems so fragile. How absurd. Feichi. The truth is that I was overly excited that night, catching a fever while enjoying the breeze on the balcony. I felt utterly wretched and frail, too ashamed to let you see me. Simultaneously, I did not know how to face you, which led to my brief escape for a few days. As for what you overheard, truth be told, I cannot recall saying such words. Perhaps it was the herbal medicine my housekeeper prepared for me daily during that time, which made me feel nauseous. Eventually, I managed to sort out my feelings, only to hear Feichi's nonchalant remark of a moment of impulsiveness. Those who lack honesty ultimately face the harshest repercussions from fate. Feichi's hands hung at his sides, his expression inscrutable. It was neither the ecstatic joy of unrequited love realized nor the remorse of a misunderstanding resolved. He appeared lost. I could empathize. In reliving those moments, I too felt perplexed at times. Was it truly for such trivial reasons that we missed our chance? Such a minuscule cause. Lin Ijia, are you truly not intoxicated? Feichi, I have liked you for a long, long time.
Feichi's pupils dilated suddenly.
I longed to reclaim all the kisses that had eluded me over the years, yet one night was far from sufficient. Time was too fleeting.
Ija.
Take a moment to rest. Rest is not an option. He does not understand that this is my final stop in this whirlwind. After my desperate, drunken confession was met with Feichi's rejection, I fell into despair, startled even by the sight of his name. Consequently, I requested a transfer to a city completely devoid of him. For more than half a year, I deliberately blocked any news of him. Until one day Faye and, on a business trip, came to visit and casually mentioned, "My brother is getting married next month. Will you be coming back?" I dropped the cup in the cafe, shattering it, and in my frantic rush to pick it up, I collided with the table. Finally, cradling my head amidst the chaos, Faye looked at me with concern. "Are you all right?" "Not at all. I would never be all right again. Why are you crying?" In the disorder of the hotel room, Fei Qi anxiously gathered me in his arms. "Does it hurt?" I could not respond through my tears. "Fei Qi, I'm here. He stepped away, retrieving a box of tissues from the nightstand, half kissing and half wiping away my tears. "Next time I will be better prepared." "When will the next time be?" "Tomorrow. Come to my place after work. I've learned to make sweet and sour pork, and I still have your last game's save untouched." "All right. Tomorrow. You will feel no pain, I promise." "All right." But right now my head throbbed painfully. The ringing in my ears was intolerable. Was the plane about to crash?
Fei Qi.
I clutched him tightly in fear. "I am so scared. I do not want to die." Fei Qi did not respond further. As dawn approached, it suddenly began to rain. A gentle patter, not heavy, but unceasing. The wedding planner called, delicately suggesting that if the rain persisted into the afternoon, we might have to abandon the outdoor plans and activate Plan B. "No problem, you make the arrangements." Fei Qi silenced his phone and picked up his glass. The sound of ice colliding with glass was crisp, yet an inexplicable agitation stirred within him. Since earlier, a sense of heaviness had settled in his chest, as if something were pressing down on him, forcing him to take deep breaths to alleviate it. He pinched the bridge of his nose, his temples throbbing with an undeniable presence. Deciding to stand, he grabbed his coat and headed out. "I'm gonna pick up Ijia." On the other end of the call, Faye fell silent for a few seconds. "What time is it? Your brother probably hasn't even woken up. If you're really anxious, just go for a run." He had already run 8 laps. "You handle the process. I'm leaving." The garage door slowly lifted, and Fei Qi started the car, facing the curtain of rain ahead. Faye sighed deeply. "Why didn't you do this sooner? Coward."
Fei Qi, unusually.
Did not retort but instead agreed. "That's why I'm going early this time." He soon arrived at the airport. He had thought that waiting here would calm his heart, but seated in the driver's seat, his anxiety only intensified. He repeatedly checked the app for flight updates. It had already taken off. In a few hours, he would see her. He could not remain idle. He pulled out a tissue, wiping down the passenger seat for what felt like the umpteenth time. The thought that Lin Yijia might not want to sit beside him prompted him to climb into the back seat. Halfway through cleaning, he suddenly realized the car's air freshener was overpowering. After much deliberation, he had chosen this scent, yet now it seemed less preferable than another. Time was still on his side. Fei Qi pressed the accelerator, speeding to the fragrance shop and, just in case, purchased several other scents. Knowing Lin Yijia might lack an appetite after such a long flight, he also picked up a bag of semi-dried apricots. Overindulging would not do. He needed to prepare something to drink as well. He spotted a fruit shop. Compared to coffee or milk tea that could spoil, fruit seemed like a wise choice. As he selected his fruit, the shopkeeper chatted idly with the neighbors while a child shouted. The shopkeeper, exasperated, tossed his phone to Fei Qi. The child quieted down. In its place, the catchy background music of a short video blared. Half a minute later, the child yelled again, "Mommy, the plane is falling." Fei Qi had only bought a lottery ticket once in his life, accompanying Lin Yijia. He scoffed, "You don't need the money." Lin Yijia had been focused on the numbers, declaring, "You don't understand. This is a luck detector. If I win, I'll do something monumental." "What monumental thing?" Lin Yijia did not answer. He did not win. Fei Qi recalled each moment. Every number, every letter matched perfectly. The flight number he had memorized so well matched the one in the news. It aligned perfectly. Waking up with a splitting headache, I stared at the ceiling, unable to move. How is it that, even in death, my body feels so heavy? Shouldn't I be able to float freely? Straining internally, I commanded myself to float, but I remained grounded. I continued to gaze at the ceiling, pondering whether a ghost could still use navigation. I am directionally challenged, utterly lost. By the time I float to Fei Qi's wedding venue, everyone might have already entered the bridal chamber. How infuriating. I want to see Fei Qi in a suit and tie. Ideally, a deep gray flannel suit with a silver pattern tie. Yes, just like the combination I envision now. However, how did this four-in-hand not end up in such a disheveled state, loose and crooked at the collar? My gaze shifted upwards, and I noticed the man's Adam's apple bob slightly. Awake, before I could fully comprehend, a throng of people surged around me. My field of vision became a tapestry of familiar faces, including my parents, who had remained indifferent to me for years. Was the carousel of life still spinning? I stood frozen, unable to recall having ever experienced such a scene before. Could it be? Something was pooling at the corners of my eyes, and in the blink of an eye, warmth and moisture began to trickle down. Could it be that everyone had perished? Oh my God! He's crying. Call the doctor, call the doctor. Can you hear me? Linija, if you can hear me, raise your hand. I attempted to lift it, but it remained utterly still. Someone wept. It's over, Linija has gone deaf. Amidst the clamor, a familiar voice emerged. Quiet down, all of you, step outside. It was Fei Qi. I gazed at him intently as he bent down to gently pat my head. Don't rush. Your inability to move is merely due to prolonged oxygen deprivation. You'll be fine. He assured me I would be fine, and thus I clung to the hope that I would indeed recover. 2 days later, I began to rise and walk. I had not succumbed. The co-pilot, upon regaining consciousness, had skillfully managed the autopilot to avert catastrophe, creating a miracle. Yet, my mind bore some remnants of the ordeal. I often forgot what I had said, unconsciously recounting events multiple times. Actually, I brought you gifts, but I can't seem to find them now. Fei Qi paused in his apple slicing, and I realized I must have already uttered those words. He nodded, feigning surprise. It's all right, it doesn't matter. Your well-being is what counts. I took a cautious bite and tentatively inquired, the engagement banquet, is it? Yes, it has been postponed. Postponed, not cancelled. Swallowing the sweet taste, I muttered an apology. I'm sorry, it's all my fault. Stop talking nonsense, just eat. His kindness over the past few days felt foreign. Unlike the Fei Qi I knew. In an unexpected turn, his blunt remark brought me comfort. Oh, but Fei Qi was also quite gentle in bed. Munching on the apple beside him, I silently reminisced about the intimate moments in that grand room. Why is your face so flushed? Is your temperature too high? He remarked, reaching out to place his hand on my forehead. I couldn't help but recall the night of the power outage at the entrance. My cheeks perhaps reddened further. I'll call the nurse to check your temperature. As I watched him pull out his phone, a sudden realization struck me. Fei Qi, where's my phone? It's been in the document bag. It might be out of battery. But after charging it, the screen remained black. It must be broken. I'll go buy a new one. It wasn't merely a question of newness. I was eager to discover whether those voice messages had been sent successfully. At that time, I was connected to the plane's Wi-Fi, without confirming its functionality. In truth, I had already found a semblance of closure within myself. Those fleeting moments, albeit brief, had left me without regrets. Now, I could even wish him and his beloved well, provided he had not seen those 3 messages. Fei Qi, I hesitated, sensing that this conversation was akin to opening a Pandora's box. I could empathize with Fei Qi's previous apprehension, fearing that too much conversation might lead to missteps, only daring to tread within the safe confines of friendship. How is the other party? I was brave but not entirely courageous. Who? Upon realizing, Fei Qi responded, oh, quite well, a business partner of my family. I deliberated for a moment, mustering the courage again. Quite well as in their feelings are good. Condition-wise, quite good. We have some in-depth cooperation ahead that requires a closer relationship. So it was a business alliance. Among the 3 brothers of the Fei family, the most unruly had ultimately turned out to be the most compliant. Yet, I did not believe Fei Qi would change his feelings within 6 months. His acquiescence was likely a result of my near-complete withdrawal from contact. This left me feeling somewhat disheartened. How long will the cooperation last? It's a long-term project. The weight of that realization struck harder. This was no different from Fei Qi selling himself out of despair. I curled up beneath the covers, expertly retreating into my shell. I'm feeling a bit tired. Sleep eluded me completely. As soon as I closed my eyes, Fei Qi would appear in my dreams. I climbed out of bed and sluggishly made my way to the nurse's station. Can I have a bit of alcohol? The nurse widened her eyes. Are you asking me to write a self-reflection? So it was merely a self-reflection she required. Then you can start writing now. She caught me trying to waddle to the convenience store. Behave yourself, please. I can help you write. I was quite adept at it. I had previously assisted Faye N with his self-reflections after he got into trouble. If VIPs have issues, I might lose my job. Well then, I couldn't impose on her. Shuffling back to my room, I truly did not dare to sleep. After pacing back and forth a few steps, I paused at the bathroom door. If they wouldn't let me drink, I would find another way to numb my nerves. I began to earnestly recall that night's encounters with Fei Qi. Damn it. All men possess a certain instinct, while mine seems to be merely a proclivity for submission. Even more frustrating was that despite recalling every detail, I still could not replicate the experience. I couldn't manage it alone. Never mind. Just as I was about to straighten up, my legs suddenly gave way and I toppled over uncontrollably. My first instinct was not self-preservation, but rather, "Oh dear nurse, I'm truly sorry. It seems I'm in serious trouble." Surviving a plane crash only to succumb to a fall moments later would surely rank among the most bizarre ways to die. Yet, once again I did not perish. Someone caught me firmly. His arms were strong, his chest solid. The bathroom was filled with nothing but our two breaths, an awkward silence enveloping us. I could have explained that it was perfectly natural for a man to feel desire after lying down for so long, were it not for the fact that we were in this position. Fei Qi, you. Let go. I struggled, but his grip was unyielding. Who taught you this? The warm breath brushed against my ear, sending shivers down my spine. It was utterly embarrassing. It seemed I had stirred desire once more, yet he remained unable to move. Was it developed in Nanqing? I realized too late that Fei Qi's voice was overly deep, his mood seemingly quite poor. Developed? He had been Fei Zong for too long, delivering such crude lines as though presenting a business proposal. No one developed it. I cultivated it myself. Fei Qi chuckled softly, straightening me up and reaching to turn off the light. Do you understand how to cultivate? It sounded as though he intended to assist me in tilling the fields. My head spun, my body felt ethereal. I needed to say something. How is the other party?
Fei Qi paused momentarily.
And I suddenly realized I had asked this before. No, I meant to ask where my phone went. He let out a low sigh. I bought you a new one. It's on the cabinet. Oh, no, that wasn't what I meant. I pondered for a moment. Fei Qi, why are you willing again? Last time you rejected me, leaving me alone in the hotel. I was quite upset. Fei Qi turned the light back on. The warm yellow glow illuminated everything, revealing desires laid bare. Lin Yijia, who is standing before you now? He had reached a critical juncture. Instinctively, I leaned closer. It's you. Who am I?
Fei Qi.
It is I. He buried his face in my neck, holding me tightly. Back then, you were not lucid, unable to recognize me. I could not take advantage of you. Oh, I murmured inwardly. In truth, I was too embarrassed to call his name. And now, I find myself in a state of true disorientation. The morning light floods the room as I awaken. I gaze vacantly at the ceiling for a while, then turn my head to spot my new phone resting atop the cabinet. I blink slowly, a dawning realization washing over me. It's over. The nurse has come to check on me, and I instinctively retreat beneath the covers, feeling a pang of guilt. Last night I attempt to speak, but my throat feels raw. She becomes alert. You didn't secretly indulge in alcohol, did you? I did not indulge in any illicit drinking. Yet there was infidelity. I still cling to a flicker of hope. Perhaps last night was merely a dream? After the nurse departs, I surreptitiously remove my pants to ascertain whether the soil is raw or cooked. Before I can draw any conclusions, Fei Qi pushes the door open. Upon seeing my position, he freezes momentarily, then raises an eyebrow. In broad daylight, your cravings are this intense? Embarrassed and indignant, I shrink back under the covers. For heaven's sake, can you knock? Why knock when such a captivating view awaits? He places a food box down and reaches under the covers. Feeling the weight of him pressing down, panic strikes me, and I hastily push him away. No, stop. In a VIP room, there's no risk of being seen. How can he so comfortably accept this affair? What I mean is, this clandestine relationship. Stop. Clandestine?
Fei Qi scoffs.
You assert that we've known each other since childhood, shared mutual crushes, and naturally confessed our feelings to come together. How is that clandestine? I struggle to comprehend his words. He fixes his gaze on my face, his expression serious. Have you forgotten again? Confused, I open my mouth. Huh? Forgotten what? Fei Qi lets out a gentle sigh, tapping into a voice memo and pressing play. My voice reverberates in the hospital room, raspy, tinged with a hint of tears. Fei Qi, I've liked you for a long, long time. What? This revelation surpasses my wildest imagination. When did I say that? The day after you woke up. Yet, this voice memo dates back 6 months. But I've only just awakened 3 days ago. It has been 6 months. Fei Qi puts away his phone, leans down, and kisses me softly. It's all right. You haven't missed anything. Everything will be all right. My aftereffects have yet to subside. The post-traumatic stress disorder causes me to intermittently forget recent events, convinced that I remain trapped in the moments surrounding that accident. So, we're together now. What about your family? My family? They wholeheartedly approve. No arranged marriage? Of course there will be one. Making money is essential. What a scoundrel. I am aghast. How could I misjudge someone? How could I love the wrong person? Fei Qi narrows his eyes, alert. Did you forget this too? I hesitate. I didn't forget. You are to be engaged. The other party is your family's business partner. Quite a suitable match, requiring long-term cooperation. You remember that well. Still a scoundrel. A complete scoundrel. I want to break up, but you've misremembered the most crucial part. Fei Qi pulls up a photo and hands it to me. The one to be engaged is my elder brother. I hold his phone, examining it repeatedly, feeling something amiss. Was it always your elder brother? My recollection was that Fei and had mentioned it was not their elder brother. It doesn't matter. It's already settled. Yes, settled. I finally muster the courage to ask him. Did you receive my voice memo? Voice memo? Fei Qi grins. Oh, were you being flirtatious with me? Soon, he notices that I haven't yet unwrapped my new phone. I quietly tap into his pin chat, the latest message dating back over a year. If you feel unwell, call me. I'll be at the door. What exactly did you send? Fei Qi traps me beneath the covers. Speak. I mimic his tone. It doesn't matter. It has been restarted. Restarted? What does that even mean? I haven't touched your save files. You can continue playing next month. All right. After a pause, I add, but what if I forget again next month? It's all right. As long as you remember me, remember that I have always loved you. The end of the text. Thank you for listening. Until we meet again in the next story.